Rose. This is Rose from In Rose's Garden, and today I've decided to make a stretch bracelet. We haven't made a stretch bracelet in quite some time, so I decided I would use one of these 10mm dyed agates and 4 of these 8mm flower amazonites from out of our Seafoam Sunrise to make this bracelet. So let's turn down and I'll show you what I'm going to do. So let's put these aside, these packets, but here is some beads, and I've got some daisy spacers out. And what I want to do is take our big one here, put it in the middle, and then we'll put daisy spacers on either side. And we may put 2 here just to emphasize it some. And then I'm going to put and then one of these, a tiny one, spacer, another one of these, and then I think we'll put a couple of daisy spacers on the other side here. And of course we're going to be doing the same on this side. Then we're going to put this 10mm lava stone, $8 millimeter, a 6, I put a lot of extra spacers here because we're now going to put 3 of our 4s in here. And then the 6 again. So now at the end we're going to have this guy. He's got a big hole. This is actually a porcelain bead, came out of my Oh So Sweet from Softlex. But I need that big hole for my knot to go in, and since I wanted something black, we decided to use that. And and it looks like I have a lot more spacers here than I need, and that's fine. We'll just slide them away, and we may need more. This may not be long enough. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to get out a length of elasticity. Now, I also have some stretch magic, but I like the 1 millimeter, and my stretch magic is only about half. So I'm just going to cut a length of our elasticity off. I always get at least, I think this is probably 10 inches, maybe even 12. I always get at least 10 because we want our bracelet to be 7, but we need plenty of room. Yeah, it's probably 13. Plenty of room of the elastic cord for when we get to the end we have to make a knot, and we have to have plenty of space to do that. Now the next thing we want to do is stretch this cord quite a few times, maybe 5 or 6, all the way to the end. And if you don't do that, sooner or later your bracelet's going to start bagging because the cord is going to stretch. So you want it to stretch. And we're not going to put this bead on yet. It's going to be our last bead. It's what's going to hold, like I say, it's going to be the one where we're going to have our, and if I need to add beads, it will be before this. Well, and on the other side of it too. So what we're going to do is just start putting our beads on just as I have them here. So I'm going to start with 2 daisy spacers. That's what will be on the other side. This will go towards, and if I need to change it, like I say, 1 bead is easier to change than a lot. So let's just go down the row here. Come on, baby. . Now this is what I call an aroma bracelet because these are lava stones and they will accept a scent. Just use a Q-tip or a cotton swab and you can take, say an essential oil or a perfume and dab it on the stones and let them dry. And then you have the scent on your bracelet as opposed to being directly on your skin. Now I am going to put 2 of our daisy spacers in between these bigger stones. So 2 here between 6 and 8. And 2 here between 8 and 10. Now actually if I wanted to I could put 3 here between 8 and 10. Just so I know we've got a good Now, of course, we have the 2 between the 10 and the Amazonite. Also, a thing about lava stones, if they're really shiny, they probably have been waxed. If they've been waxed, what you want to do is take them and drop them into a hot cup of water. Can be boiling, and it will draw the wax out of the hollows. So this is halfway point with this big guy. Let's see how long it is so far. It is saying 4 inches. Now we want it to be about 7. So 4 would seem to be too long. It's not, because when you wrap it around, the beads are not going to be flat on this line. They're going to be, the line is going to be out a ways, which means that the beads are taking up some of the space. So what you need to realize is that because they're not going to be, they're not laying flat on your wrist, so it's going to take up some of that interior space. Come on, daisy spacer. There we go. Now this will go here if it's the right size. And to check that, what I'm going to do is I'm going to roll these down so they're about even. And then we are going to put this through here and tie it sort of in a little knot. So what I mean by that is I'm going to take this second, hold this strand, take this one through like so. Come on, give it to me. Now this is not how we'll tie our knot to finish it up, but we are going to do it this way to check its length. See how it's looking there? Now we'll drop this down onto here and we'll pull our strings a little tight. Now this one is not quite 7. As you can see, it's right at the 7 line, but up it a little bit, and if I tighten it, but I think this is good. Nope, we've got a gap there. We don't want gaps. So let's tighten this up a little more. It's at about 6 3/4. We could leave it that way. There are people with smaller arms, but I think we are going to instead, we only want just a little tiny bit. So what we're going to do, I think, is we're going to switch these middle ones out in here for a bigger one. And that is just going to add just a little bit of length to it, because we're going to, because the difference in the bead size. So I'll just pull these off this side, and we'll take one bead out, put this other one in instead. Now I'm just going to put this one back on, and we'll switch over to this side to work. And we're going to pull these off, take the little one out, put the slightly bigger one in, and then put it all back together. Now we're going to do what we just did again by putting the second string through the bead, pulling them up tight, and tying them around the bead. Now we'll get our sizer back out and see if we got that length that we wanted by just changing those two beads out. Come on, go over the sizer. Now we didn't gain a lot. You can see we are now a little closer to the 7, but not right at the 7. But I think we're close enough. I don't know, did I show you that so you could see? There we go. So I think we're ready to tie our knot. So I'm going to get these things put away and we'll come and tie the knot. So to tie the knot, first of all, we're going to take it out of this knot Well, this isn't a knot, it's just an overhand. And we're going to take it out of one side here, because we only need one strand through here. Now we want to get these close to the same length, and then we want to stretch this and the bracelet piece a little bit more again. Make sure we're good and stretched. Then to make this knot, you go over 2 fingers with both cords, bring them all the way around through the between your fingers right here. Do that a second time. Come on, baby, all the way through both strands. Okay, now that we've got both strands through, we pull this up tight. Now I'm going to release one finger, and it looks like we're trying to go around beads. We don't want it to do that, so straighten that out as much as possible. Make sure we're not around this bead. This we are. So we have to get them off of there. There we go. Now you want to keep pulling this so you've got it good and tight and not around your other beads. So now stretch it a couple times, make sure you're pretty good there. It looks good. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take and cut these strings, not all the way down to the knot, leave about, 1/8 of an inch maybe. So we don't need these. See, this is what the excess was, but as you could see, I needed it to go around my fingers. So now it looks done, right? No, not quite. We have our hypo cement. I'm going to open that up, stretch this so you can get to the knot easily. And then our hypo cement, we want to put a little bit on the knot. Not an atrocious lot, just a little. Now this glue is one of those ones that glues, that dries sort of rubbery, so it doesn't interfere with your knot, so to speak. Now, the other thing is, do not use super glue on these. If you super glue them, it's definitely going to break where the knot's at, because the knot is now frozen in place with the super glue, and it's going to seriously object to being there. Now you'll notice I pushed the tails slightly into the big hole bead, and then I'm just going to carefully pull this and work it. Come on, knot, go in there. This should be plenty big enough for the knot. There it goes, it went in, and now it's done. The knot is now in that big hole, and there's our bracelet. So, knot in big hole. This is our beads from out of our bead mix, our bargain bead box bundle, and I think it turned out really pretty. We'll let this dry for a few moments, but the stones we used, other than the lava stones, were one of these 10mm agates and 2 of these 8mm flower amazonites. Both matte beads. And those are our beautiful stretch bracelet with our lava stones, making it be what I call an aroma bracelet, since you can put scent on the lava beads. And I think these turned out really pretty. Anyway, those beads were from Seafoam Sunrise from Bargain Bead Box. So there is our bracelet. It has dried for a few moments, so I think it's safe to move it. There are the beads from the Seafoam Sunrise bundle from Bargain Bead Box, and then the rest is lava beads and daisy spacers, except for our large hole bead, which I took out of Soft Flex Company's Oh So Sweet bead mix. So didn't it turn out pretty? I really like it. This has been Rose from Rose's Garden, and we'll see you next time. Bye-bye.